I'm back with the daily tune in. I'm oddly very, very nervous. This is so weird. There's been a lot that has been unfolding and new insights just flooding my mind. And it's bringing a lot of things full circle. And I'm kind of whispering because I'm going to come back to that point. I'm whispering because we only have AC in the living room. And so Bud comes out here and sleeps on the couch at night because he gets so hot. He's always sweaty. So he's sleeping in here. Um, I'm on my balcony here in Saranda, Albania. This is my morning time. My It's before I have coffee. I have water, and I sit here and I watch the world come alive. And it's my favorite time of the day. The early mornings. I started getting up at 4:30 in the morning, um, long time ago now, and I because I just needed time for myself when my kids were really little, and I was on my healing journey. The only time I could find time to journal and to commit to my practices, really, time to journal, meditate. I would get a subscription to Science of Mind magazine, and they have a daily, just a daily reading. Actually, I want to get that again. I wonder if I would still resonate with it because I really did back then. And I would sit quietly, and then I'd get up and go pack lunches and get things ready, and then go upstairs, get myself ready, and get my kids up. And I mean, it was 4:30 in the morning, and it became a ritual for me. It gave me so much balance, and in a time that was, I mean, it feels like my whole life as a mom, not because I was a mom, but the whole time that I was a mom, um, I was in a lot of strife. Um, my I walked in on my ex-husband with another woman, and when my youngest son was 8 months old. So pretty much, his entire life, I was really at odds with what I was really imbalanced because I loved being a mom and I didn't want to disrupt that. And I was building this life that's looking, very much like what I'm trying to build. But the reason why I kept trying to fix it was because my relationship wasn't right, but I was afraid to disrupt everything, so I stayed longer than I should. It went against everything I believed in. So I needed time to ground and center and really understand that the journey was a journey. And those 4:30 mornings when I would wake up before the sun and sit, it would always reset me and know I would come up to a higher perspective like I do here, sitting here and quite it's a lot like literally at a higher perspective. But those early mornings would get me to a higher perspective where I could say, okay, today everything's all right. I still have a roof over my head. I've got a lot of struggles going on. Yes, but the most important thing is for me to be a mom. I'm going to go make a lunch. And some days I loved making lunches and some days I didn't. But for the most part, when I look back on it, the fact that I was able to make my kids lunch almost every day of their lives while I had them, I'm grateful for that. I fought for that time. I fought for the time that I had. I fought going back to traditional work where I had to make money. I fought to just be broke and to do what I needed to do to be with my kids. I wanted to be a mom. And these mornings have become such an intimate time for me. So when the idea of bringing the daily tune in back, um, it was very clear to me that I couldn't do it the way that I was doing it before. I was doing it for basically for free on YouTube at a specific time every day, and I freaking loved it. Our community that came together was life changing for me. Just what I learned from that community, and yet just the scheduled. I kind of made it a job for myself. So when I kept getting the idea in these last few weeks, do a daily tune in, do a daily tune in. And I was like, I already did that, but that didn't last long because I was like, but I would really love to do a daily tune in. So I'm not promising that a daily tune-in will be a live video every day. It might be the day that I sit here and I'm called to just write something or to post an audio or something. I don't know, however I'm called and whenever I'm called. It may not be at the same time. I may just have a day where I need to sit by myself, or it could be from wherever we are. So I'm going to be a little bit more lenient, but I'm going to save the lives when I do go live. It's for the Storehouse Social community. It is where we are investing and we are funding in ourselves. We are coming together in sacred union and sacred community, sitting and gathering our I am presences together. And that's a very intimate thing. And that is my soul family. So in Storehouse Social, you are going to get the most intimate and the most vulnerable of me, which means join me in this conversation on the daily tune in. And I will record them. I will put them on YouTube, so they still will be available for free. But the live energy, the community that participates in the discussion is for the intimate community that draws together and is of a consciousness of the daily tune in and can really bring their perspectives and your perspectives. So if you are here and you see that I am live, you're part of Storehouse Social. Therefore, you're invited in to have a conversation during the daily tune in so we can go even deeper. So that's what the daily tune in is becoming. It's morphing, it's growing, it's organic, it's grassroots. And so today I sat down and wanted to explain a little bit about what we're doing here. And I also wanted to, I do have a message that came through, and it comes through with a little bit of a story that I think I tell a lot of stories so that you know the intentionality behind what I'm sharing. People love stories, and I know that I'm long-winded. I'm trying to be better about that, but I learned that I'm just a conversationalist, and I like to have conversation. I have conversations with nature around here, and I'm also of a verbal processor. So I make sense of things by speaking it out. So sometimes on daily tune-ins, the message is coming through on the spot, and I don't always know where we're going. So it's just kind of I have to just verbally process and also bring together images that I'm given to understand the message better. So I sometimes they'll give me messages or visions and like experiences that I've had, which then leads to why I'm telling a story. So just allow me to ramble, and if I get too long-winded, you can pause and come back, take a break. But eventually, I would love for this to be like a round table circle where some of us come together. I started to do that a little bit on the first the daily tune in 1.0. This is 2.0. So I don't know where we're going with this, but we're just going to have a good time. We're going to talk about the things we like to talk about, which is energy, how to live in the energies of the world, tuning into the energies, tuning in, getting back into the sacred parts of life, because that has been my sustenance. Those early mornings, these early mornings where I tune into that sacred heart and that I am presence and that soul. All of them sit right here for me. And I know there's different like areas in the head and all the things, but this is my sacred center. And when I touch the sacred center, whether physically or in my early mornings, I know that all is well. And that has been my biggest path to as much peace as I could hold in a lot of fucking chaos in my world. Yes, most of the chaos was caused by me, and at the same time, it was caused by me because I kept choosing not for myself. I kept choosing for others and trying to abide by what would make them happy. So I kept making decisions that weren't resonant with my free spirit, that didn't always want to go this way, didn't want to be this traditional, didn't, wanted to do things a little bit differently. So I kept choosing someone else's choice in most cases, to the point where it got so painful, then I had to disrupt everything in order to get back into where I could live truly in peace, not have to go find it, but I'm now practicing with being in the peace every moment of every day. That's all I've ever wanted, and that's what I want for all people. That's how we are designed to live, in peace and in love and in abundance of heart expanding moments, which comes to the energy of right now. These heart expansions are happening. How do I know? Because I'm feeling them, and I'm feeling them in a different way than I ever have before. On the original daily tune-ins, we were I just got an idea that I really liked. Daily Tune-In 2.0 is what we're doing here. So on the original Daily Tune-Ins, we were talking a lot about heart expansions and activations. So there's palpitations. There's, there could be, I had some jabs of electrical kind of jolts literally going through my heart. I talked about that on the Daily Tune-In back end. I think it was like end of November, December, when we were still in Ukraine, because I had a night where I had to just, I couldn't take a deep breath, because it would just, if I just breathed in and my chest expanded, it would send a electric jolt through my heart. And I couldn't get a deep breath. And I was like trying to just stay peaceful in the fear that was rising. And it was like 15 minutes, but it was full. That could have been forever, just working through that pain. So those were activations. They were activating the heart chakra, kind of like shocking it awake. So in the months that have passed since then, we've been I want to say like physical therapy is what is kind of what's coming to me. Like, it's almost like we've been in physical therapy. So the jolt, let's say somebody has the heart stops and you get jolted back alive. After that, there's some time where the heart has to be nurtured and massaged, so to speak, and physical therapy. If you get surgery somewhere, the surgery is the jolt to wellness, but you have to nurture, and physical therapy, you have to build the muscle back up. So we have been building the muscle of energy of our heart chakra. So it was jolted back into wellness back in at the end of last year, and now we've been kind of massaging it and working with it, and now what I'm understanding is that now it's being expanded. Okay, as it's being expanded energetically. Okay, we are being worked on these energies, these solar energies. We also know spiritually the war, the dark, dark versus the light. We know the light's won, all the things, and yet it's still being played out. And we as physical human beings of a denser energy are having to live through those battles that happen in consciousness, light versus dark in consciousness. It then manifests in physical form, and we as physical forms, we're moving through the manifestation of that battle. So as we have done that, we've been nurturing our hearts, because as we go through our day, we are coming across darkness. We are coming we are coming across new information. Maybe we're seeing or realizing about the world that we didn't always know, and it's hard to hear. Relationships are becoming more and more challenged, because what's happening is, as the heart expands, there's room, there's much more space, and as it expands, any part that was constricted to hang on to relationships just because they were comfortable, maybe there was a fear of change, it constricted and stopped the growth of the heart. So those people, those relationships, those jobs, those things that really didn't resonate, but your heart could hang on to it and just hold that resonance, just because it couldn't expand. It had to stay in that just keep in that comfort level. Now the outside world is triggering many to and our environments are helping us to expand our hearts. And as we do that, all that stuff that we're hanging on to, that starts to rip away. So anyone or anything that was not truly in resonance with your heart is now in your space. But if it's polarizing, if they don't resonate, if really now it's going to become more and more amplified if they are not resonant with your heart expansion. So I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to give words to just an understanding or a knowing. And sometimes I struggle with that, but I hope that makes sense because it helped me understand some things a little bit better. So when we constrict to stay, we control, right? Control. We want to control our environment. I can't quit that job because I have to pay my bills. I can't let go of that relationship because I don't know. And I know that one. I stayed married for 9 years after walking in on someone. Like I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Like I saw my husband with a heart on. Like that shit was crazy. And I stayed for 9 years. And I've had to work through a lot of anger at myself for not doing what I knew I should have done at the very beginning. And kicked both of them out of my house and just moved on with my life with my boys and figured it out. I eventually had to do that anyway. But I had to do that anyway with 9 years of baggage that I carried myself because I didn't do what I really wanted to do because I was afraid. So fuck fear. I'm no longer succumbing to fear anymore. Everything. I'm not blaming my husband, my ex-husband. I'm blaming myself. Not blaming, actually. I'm forgiving myself. I am forgiving myself every fucking moment of every fucking day. Something pops up and I'm like, just forgive it. Forgive yourself. You did the best you could. We were born and raised in a world of fear. It's no wonder. I have to forgive myself because it's no wonder fear won out for as long as it did in my life. And when I finally decided to let fear go and go live my life, all of the things that I was controlling, hanging on to this house that I love so much, this tree house. It was like my suburban dream. And yet hanging on and paying that rent and then getting a text about, what are you doing with the kids and why are you doing it that way? And I want it this way, but I'm not here. So you need to do it my way anyway. And then hanging on to, a lot of shame around my finances. And then all the things that went in, I was controlling and then fighting with my kids because I wanted them to grow up differently and pulling them out of school and controlling so that they didn't get succumbed. They didn't get trained and programmed and brainwashed in that school system that we are seeing. We are now seeing it falling apart. I saw it a long time ago and I wanted it, but I had to control everything. And when the heart expansion started happening in 2020 and 2021, and it was being activated, shocked back alive. If you're having heart problems, maybe God is shocking you back alive. It's a possibility. And if there's a possibility that your heart's stopping, there's also the possibility that it's starting because the opposites always exist. The sacred way of living is trusting that you are in God's hands, in Gus's hands. And Gus is taking you to shocking you back alive out of that fucking fear. Excuse my language, but I'm pissed off at how much we have been deceived to live in fear, to live in compliance of being controlled in what we think is freedom, but it's just fear. It's just fear. And I'm pissed because I've said yes to it for as long as I have. And now that I'm out of it, we started letting go of cell phone plans. We started seeing the truth of that and all the things and pulling out of that world of fear and just being like, I don't know. I'll figure it out when the time comes. And so far, for a year and a half. That's how we've lived, and we've just figured it out. God, like Gus, shocked my heart open, shocked it, and it's expanding. It shocked it back alive. And just like what would happen in normal life, life, there has to be a nurturing. So this time of quiet has been about, many of us have gone in, have hermited in, and we're doing that so that we can nurture our hearts, listen to them again. What is it that we do love? What is it that we do resonate with? Who is it that we resonate with? We've been very quiet. We've had this opportunity to be real quiet so that we can sit with that. And that's the most beautiful, beautiful thing to sit with. And I'm so grateful for this time in Saranda. I'm done being in Saranda. Now I feel like my work is done here. And at the same time, I am so grateful for this place because I've been able to sit here and watch and connect with the nature that is right in front of me. I connect from the heart, and it has literally cleansed my heart. It has absolutely been this healing, beautiful relationship, that being here with the Ionian Sea, giving my heart to it, saying, I have lived my entire life dreaming of just vacationing in a place with this view. I didn't imagine that I would live with this view. That is what my heart has wanted. And I see that I have manifested something. It's not exactly as I want it yet, but it was such an experience here. And I've given of my heart. And every ship that comes in here, y'all, I stand here and I bless it. Like, I'm not like weird blessing. I'm just like, welcome. Oh, shit. Hold on. Pepe's going crazy. Your bud. You went, Pepe. That dog drives us crazy. But he's so sweet. But his heart is way bigger than the part of him that does that shit. Like, randomly. Like, you don't even know why he does it. He just gets up and starts barking like that. It startles our nervous system. So it's very common if you're our neighbor, you hear us going, Pepe! Freak out. But his heart is so big. It's so big. He's so good. He's so sweet. Like, if and when all of you meet him, like, you'll know why he just easily became a part of our family. But every ship that comes in here, every person that I see walking on the street down here, and there's a little dirt road that goes between just right here. People walk down here all the time. It's how they get down to the beach. They come by, and like Bud and I will sit up here and we'll be like, hey, like being all goofy and making people laugh, because people are just glum. Like, they come here on vacation and they're still like, and they're, and you can just tell people are agitated. So we do our best here. We dance, we sing, we laugh, we cry. So there's a lot of vulnerability and a lot of love that's happening on this balcony. And I get to have a higher perspective, both in consciousness and my heart, because it's expanded so much. And then with this view. So I just stand here, like, I'm the crazy lady that I literally will stand here and just do this and be like, I'm giving you all my heart. You're welcome. And I project out what is in my heart. The other day I was going through my cards that I was showing you all, these cards that I had painted years ago and brought with me, and now I'm kind of making them into cards. So what I'm doing is shuffling with them. And I was shuffling the other day, and I had a question on my, whatever the question was, I don't remember. But I'm going to block the message. This was just the card. So I'd already kind of put the lines. I'd already done the artwork, so to speak, the painting. But when it came up, it was the answer. It was the card that came up to whatever my question was. And immediately, and I had been looking at this card, I'm like, what I think the meaning of it is. And I couldn't come up with anything until I asked the question, and it came up in the shuffle. And immediately what I saw is this blob of, like, not, this blob of unwellness, which is a consciousness that's just projecting, just spewing chunks and energy out. And then there's this pyramid. I saw this pyramid, and I had drawn this beautiful dome. And one of the things that I've been really good about doing, I pretty much do it all the time, is I always throughout the day I'll remember be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna reinforce my energy shield. I'll be like, so Leo, make sure my shield's good. Check for any holes. Check for anything." So this is a representation of that to me, being a solid pillar of peace and being fully protected, because there is a lot of projection happening in the world. People are agitated. It's summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere. It's super hot, heat waves everywhere. So people are hot, sticky, sweaty. That's for most, that's a catalyst to being angry. So there's a lot of just environmental things going on. There's a lot of fear, agitation. I can feel it so much in people as I walk. That's why Bud and I, we stay put. We have pretty much been hermits. We go out at night for a walk in the park after the sun goes down when it's not so hot and there's not that many people. I just got back from a walk. I go early in the morning. I take the boys. Take the. I wish I was taking the boys. I take the dogs, which pretty much my kids. I take them for a walk in the morning, so I don't really, mainly so I don't have to see people, because I can love on people from the boundary of my home. When I go into the world, I can feel people's fears, because I see how they behave. I see how they act. I see how most are so closed down. They don't even look up from their phones enough to know that they're about to walk into you. Um, I see the effects of the world on people, and I feel it really deeply. So going out for me lately is very hard, and I see that in Bud, because Bud is, if he sees something, he's going to say something, and he sees what I see, and it's litter everywhere. It's people literally asleep at the wheel, the wheel of their own consciousness. And if they are jerks, he will tell them. And I've started to tell people, and that is then not easy. So we just kind of hole up and keep ourselves in as much of a pillar of peace as we can, so that the protection stays solid. So the point of this daily tune in, I think, is to explain what I'm doing here. It's also for me, y'all. I get to talk about some of the things in my mind, what's happening, and I find that when I share that, it seems to be received. I think it resonates with many of you, because we're all in this. We're living in this atmosphere. We're living in the same energy, and when we can put words together to how life is feeling and how life is erupting from each of erupting. I don't even want to use that. How life is unfolding. Um, and we can do that each from our own perspectives, and we start to then see that, wow, my world here in Albania sounds a lot like it does still in the US and in Scotland. And when we then tune into all of that, we can see that we are not alone in our struggles. We are not alone in feeling imbalanced. A lot of us have been on this journey, for a healing journey, for a long time, consciously on this journey for a long time, and we are still feeling a little unbalanced at times and depressed sometimes. We are still in the process of cleansing this vessel that has been so toxified, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, almost entirely cut off spiritually. And that's what we're doing here in the Daily Tune in Storehouse Social. We are bringing the sacred part, the spiritual part. I don't want to call it, the spiritual world has gotten kind of morphed and deceptive too. I've noticed. I've kind of backed away from a lot of stuff, because it's been surprising to me, using my discernment, when I've seen a shift in energy in a few people in the spiritual community that's been interesting, and it's just not resonating with me. Discernment tells me to unfollow, to pull back a little bit, and So it feels like there's a shakiness, a wobbliness in the spiritual nature of things at the moment. And the wobble just comes, like right before things kind of topple. I want to come back to reminding us that to the sacred parts. It's what spirituality is about, but it can also get lost in its own dogma. But when we come back to what is really sacred is making sure you're sitting in every moment with your heart expanding in love. And when it's not, coming back to that sacred space and saying, what's off? What's in balance? It's such a simple way to live. And yet, because we've gotten so far from that nucleus, from that center, we've gotten so far from that center that we have to make our way back to every now moment being so very sacred. That's what we're doing in Storehouse Social. That's what we're doing here, y'all. For those of you that are here, you're here because you're that. And if you don't feel like you're that, your I am presence that is fully present, that is fully resonant with sacred, with truth, is what called you here. So you are here because you are being called to be the divine expression of your truth. And that means tuning in to the most sacred parts of you, of that center. So everything, my intention, everything that is done and shared within Storehouse Social is done in a fluid way. I don't plan it. I'm not scheduling it. I'm not promising anything. I'm writing, practicing the art of tarot, which I love. So I'm sharing messages that way because that helps me bring the message of spirit, of my presence. I am presence through in a different way than it is for me to sit with my own card deck, to sit and what message comes through, what artwork, how do I visualize that? How do I bring that to a visual? So these are going to be showing up more and more because I'm having a lot of fun with them, but I'm still kind of developing the relationship. I'm also playing. Sunrise Sunday is a way for me to play with being the minister. I was once on the pathway to be, got off that pathway. I don't know if I'm being called back to it, but if I am, it's in a different way. It's to elevate, innovate, evolve what it means to assemble on Sunday, to tune into the sacred. So we've been practicing with some of that on Sunrise Sunday. So thank you guys for helping me play with that. We're just playing with a new way of being in sacred holiness, sacred holy breath every moment. So right now, knowing that the world is projecting quite a bit for us to stay in that sacred, holy now moment, what is it that you have to choose in that moment? And it's not choosing from what was the old controlling way, what you should choose. It's choosing from the expanded heart that we have to nurture in order for it to stay expanded. So there's no fear. There's no fear involved here. Feel your heart. Listen to your heart. Know that it is the creation, the idea of Gus, God, universe, nature, spirit. And it only creates in love. So if there's pain, it's an expansion. It can be. It most likely is an expansion. So the heart has to expand. There's some growing pains. And yet, as it grows, it clears itself out. It comes into, and we nurture it. It comes back into full functioning, optimal health and energy and physically. Everything follows, the body follows the physical, the energetic, sorry. The physical follows the energetics. So be in love in every moment. Be in peace. And if you're in a shitty situation, find the peace. Get yourself up at 4:30 in the morning and read some good stuff and journal out the shit that's on your heart. Get it out and allow yourself to just be with it, so that when you start your day in that shitty situation, it's at least starting out in the highest vibration, and you just hold that. Before long, that shitty situation is going to work itself out. You don't have to figure it out. You simply have to follow the way that your heart takes you. And when you keep choosing that, it clears. The shit clears. And when the shit clears, the heart goes, oh, it expands even more. Health, spontaneous healing in that moment. Every moment you choose the heart, you're breathing life, health, and vibrancy into it. So protect yourself from other people's projection, and you just stay. We all are being called today, especially for some reason. I don't know why yet. I haven't lived the day yet, like I usually do on Daily Tune In 1.0. I had lived the day so I could be like, here's how it went. I'm beginning this day. I don't know why we're being told, but maybe we're gonna meet some projection. Maybe we have been. I know some of you have been talking about that in Storehouse Social, about family projecting a lot of stuff. So we're seeing it. Therefore, today our work is to be in the protective bubble of only listening to our heart. And that is already so. We're listening to our heart. It's expanding. It's coming into optimal, beautiful health. The heart is being shocked alive again, but alive in the original programming it was sent to this planet to be, in human form. The heart is being shocked back to that beautiful, original, innocent heart. And as long as we follow it from here on out, it only expands, and it heals, and it expands, and it heals. And as it keeps doing that, everything else starts to expand and heal. And before you're looking around saying, that took care of itself. That's kind of a done deal. How did that happen? Who cares? I feel good. Heart expands. Healing happens. That's how it works from the inside out. And all of a sudden, the body will start to take care of itself. You'll start to feel like you're not resonant with different foods. Butter, I slather butter on everything. Literally the last two weeks or so, I cannot eat butter. It gives me such a bellyache. And I'm like, no. Beer, I love beer. I haven't had a beer in 2 months. Not because I chose not to drink. I know I've always been all right. Like, I'll have a beer and be good. I haven't had a beer. Like, I can't even drink alcohol now. Like, what? I like to sip on something, and so I have my little lemonade cocktails, which I've talked about, and I'm quite happy with that, actually. But there's a lot that's changing within us because we're coming back to that original programming. We're being reset to our original programming that is not corrupted, that is not deceptive, that is not manipulative, that is not abusive. We became all of that for ourselves. That's all being cleared away as long as you allow it, so that we can be in the optimal program, which is our original program. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be fluid with this and just to allow myself to express my heart. And I will be back in Storehouse Socials soon enough. I hang out in there just because it feels like a safe haven, and I like to share my heart in there and know it's safely held, and so is your heart. So I'd love to know what you've taken from today's Daily Tune-In. So just leave it in the chat so we can keep the chat going, okay? Love to you all. Mwah.